The one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her.
Why her?
Well, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
Caitlin Clark, what makes her great is not that she's a white girl from middle America. She is objectively an incredible basketball player.
No doubt.
She took a group of other corn-fed white girls from middle America to the damn national championship game and to the Final Four.
While Caitlin is fantastic and I think she's going to have an incredible career in the WNBA, there are women that were worthy of coverage prior to her arriving, and I just will not be silenced when it comes to that.
If it's about race, why can't I name another player on that Iowa team?
No one cares about Monica McDougal. Monica says things like this to bring attention to herself.
They attempted to undermine her once more. When you think the hatred for Caitlin Clark can't get any louder, it does. In yet another envious remark, ESPN's Monica McNutt asserts that Caitlin's success is primarily due to her whiteness rather than her skill.
The Monica McNutt stuff, and specifically with this level of media, we're talking about with ESPN, their issue with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark represents Trump America, MAGA America. They see her and they say, this is someone that everybody who roots for probably voted for Donald Trump, and I hate Donald Trump, and I hate those red hats, and I hate everything that represents to me, because to me that represents race.
However, it backfired this time. The internet gave a fierce retort. The stats don't lie, and the fans weren't having it. Caitlin Clark came to save a league that has been losing money for decades, not merely to play. Caitlin works while Monica converses.
Prevailing narrative that has been created around this season's WNBA play is that it's the league versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next level.
There's a method to this madness. When given a chance to talk about Caitlin Clark, they're always going to racialize it and try to demonize Caitlin Clark's fan base.
And now, we're dissecting how Monica was completely taken aback by this most recent onslaught and why Caitlin Clark keeps winning on and off the court.
She's different. She's a white girl from the middle of corn country.
They like Caitlin Clark because she's not a victim, because she doesn't seem to be angry. And so they find her relatable.
To show the world that you see past the commotion, leave a jealous Monica McNutt remark if you support Caitlin Clark and are sick of the disrespect and envy. Let's make sure they can clearly hear us.
Yet, instead of appreciating Clark for leading the WNBA out of the abyss and into the mainstream conversation, mean girls and race clowns met her with resistance. Because Caitlin Clark's white, that's why little girls have gravitated towards her. I think what she's saying is ridiculous, and to tie it to little girls, you're going as low as humanly possible at this point.
Why have all these fans come to see Caitlin? And all the little suburban white girls have hopped on board because Caitlin Clark, she resonates with them more so than the angry black lesbians who dominate the WNBA.
There is no denying Caitlin's greatness. Every time Caitlin Clark shines, Monica McNutt usually shows up to minimize it, but this time, she went too far. Monica openly asserted on national television that Caitlin's success is due to her race rather than her skill. That's correct.
But she was a white girl from the middle of America.
WNBA's attendance had a record-breaking high in 20 years with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games. You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance? 48%. That's massive. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
Phenomenon, yeah.
If Caitlin Clark gets injured, it's over with.
Monica claims that Caitlin's once-in-a-generation shooting range, court vision, and record-breaking stats aren't the reason. No, it all boils down to race in her opinion. And the worst part is that she said it with the same arrogant vigor that she has used each time she has attempted to downplay Caitlin's influence. However, let's call this what it truly is, disguised as critique jealousy.
Former black players have decided, hey, we're going to hate on Caitlin Clark constantly to elevate ourselves, but also trigger her fans so that they'll keep coming to games and rooting for her, and it's going to elevate the entire league.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
Juju Watkins goes down with a devastating injury that might keep her out next season. God forbid. If the same thing happens to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA will not survive. You have one young woman carrying the entire league. And Monica McDougal and her pretend friends in the media, they are doing everything they can to piss off her fan base.
Monica isn't giving criticism. She is promoting a harsh narrative. Because she knows in her heart that Caitlin Clark is the only reason why everyone else is beginning to realize that millions of people are aware that the WNBA currently exists. Monica continues to promote the idea that Black women founded the WNBA, but if that were the case, why was there so much focus prior to Caitlin's arrival?
She's not Angel Reese, who can barely make a layup. She's not Asia Wilson, who is 6'4" or 6'5" and completely unrelatable to most women.
Why did ratings remain unchanged? Why were the arenas deserted? Why did the league lose tens of millions of dollars annually? Here's the reality that Monica refuses to acknowledge. Watching a younger, unquestionably gifted person take center stage and accomplish what no one before her could do to make the WNBA famous is heartbreaking.
And little girls said, hey, I can relate to Caitlin Clark. She's like us. She has a boyfriend. There's a lot of parents that feel real comfortable taking their kids to a game.
Caitlin isn't attempting to obliterate anyone's legacy. She didn't beg for the attention, but it followed her because her game required it. She is developing her own, and the world watches Caitlin climb while Monica shouts.
Monica has figured out a way to make the WNBA relevant and profitable long term. The lady from the BBC, she seems to be asking Monica McDougal how the WNBA can maintain their momentum from last season. There's an easy answer to that question. More than likely, they can't.
Two things. I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, the one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her. Little girls with their parents and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that she may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Where are these Angel Reese fans? When I see Chicago Bravado games on TV, the only things I see are missed layups and empty seats.
Prior to Caitlin Clark joining the WNBA, the league was largely ignored. The WNBA had long faced challenges with financial survival and visibility attendance.
Number one revenue sport in America, what do you think it is? The NFL. How much do you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. You guys are a $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized by the NBA.
Let's not mince words. There was blood in the league. The figures are honest. The WNBA has been losing almost $50 million annually. This is not a modest decline. There is a serious, ongoing financial crisis there. For many years, the NBA's financial backing and corporate sponsorships, which frequently function more like charity than actual investment, kept the organization afloat rather than popular demand. However, some pundits, like as Monica McNutt, still maintain the myth that the league was flourishing before to Caitlin Clark's arrival.
ESPN and claimed that Monica McDougal is an NBA analyst. Obviously, Monica never played in the NBA. Monica wasn't even good enough to play in the WNBA. Maybe that's why Monica seems to be jealous of Caitlin.
The WNBA was created and propelled to success by Black women alone. But the harsh reality is that nobody other than ardent supporters was even watching TV, and ratings were flat. The merchandise wasn't moving. And most of the seats in the arenas are empty.
She's not playing with anger. She's not playing with a sense of entitlement. And yes, people find that relatable.
Even with celebrities like Brittany Gurrier and Diana Taurasi Wilson, the WNBA never gained widespread recognition. Despite dominating the court, these sportsmen never made a significant impact on the league as a whole.
The reason that Caitlin Clark is getting all of this attention is because she is an anomaly. She is a phenomenal player. And Paige Bueckers is also a phenomenal player, but it just isn't the same. She doesn't do the same things. She doesn't do the things that have never.
The numbers remained unmoving. The losses continued to mount, and the public showed no interest until Caitlin Clark arrived, at which point everything changed. All of a sudden, the WNBA was being watched in addition to being discussed.
What happened is Caitlin Clark in her sophomore year and really in her junior year just started excelling and doing things that nobody had ever seen a female basketball player do. Like nobody had consistently been shooting these from the logo passes.
She shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists. She's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting style of play.
Over 2.5 million people watched her Indiana Fever debut, shattering every previous record since ESPN began providing the league with premium coverage. Fever Games tickets began to sell out both domestically and internationally. Clips of her passes, deep threes, and poise under duress were all over social media, and with each shot she made, she wasn't only enhancing her own reputation but also the WNBA as a whole.
A'ja Wilson should be centered and they should be celebrating her. And all the little white girls should want to be like A'ja Wilson. Little black girls don't want to be like A'ja Wilson.
People took notice for the first time in the league's history, and the financial impact was immediate. In 2024 alone, the WNBA's annual losses decreased from $50 million to $40 million, a $10 million improvement in a single season. Let's face it, Caitlin Clark was the only significant change between 2023 and 2024.
It's a lot easier for a 5'7" girl to relate to a 6' girl than it is a 6'5" woman who's angry and whose best friend is some transgender man that thinks he's a woman and who walks around preaching to little white girls, you got a privilege and you don't have to work as hard as me and you don't have to do as much as me, because they're not willing to have the true discussion about why Caitlin Clark is so popular.
No rule modifications. No new superstar, one rookie whose college success carried over into the professional ranks. Let's not act as though this was an accident. It is not Caitlin's race that gives her star power. It concerns her influence. The focus is on outcomes. She sells underwear. She fills chairs. She pulls in sponsors that wanted the rights to use the WNBA networks, but had previously refused to these games. Additionally, the WNBA may eventually become profitable in the coming years if the enthusiasm keeps up.
Kids that come from two-parent homes can relate to Caitlin Clark because they have more in common with her values and the way she presents herself.
However, Monica McNutt and others keep downplaying this, acting as though recognizing Caitlin's contribution somehow negates the work of previous players. However, this isn't about the eraser. It has to do with evolution. The league now has a pulse after being placed on life support. And whether you like it or not, Caitlin Clark is to blame.
Caitlin Clark is relatable and popular, and people want to see her play because she's exciting as heck to watch and because she's not filled with anger. People are attracted to joy.
Little girls are not the answer to the WNBA's financial problems. Why? Because little girls don't have money.
This is where it all went south. Because Monica McNutt's remarks provoked indignation. In addition to discussion, the criticism was swift and severe as soon as she asserted that Caitlin Clark's notoriety was due to her basketball prowess, but rather to her race. Not only did casual fans push back, but former players, analysts, pundits, and even athletes from other sports were taken aback by Monica's overtly resentful and obvious tone. Within minutes, Caitlin supporting hashtags became viral on social media. Videos of Monica's perspective were shared online with harsh subtitles that criticized the hypocrisy and unfair treatment. Because, let's face it, a white analyst would have been fired if they had made the same kind of disparaging statement about a successful black player canceled their career. Because, however, Monica is permitted to sit on national television, accept a check, and nonchalantly disregard a generational athlete's skill because she dislikes having her attention diverted.
Right, and that's what a lot of these women are doing, is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game, and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry. When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? Everybody else. It's helping the Asia Wilsons. It's helping everybody else, the Plums, all that. It's helping all of them, the Tarasis.
This is even worse by how calculating it seemed. Monica didn't comment on Caitlin's performance. She didn't bring out poor defense or misstrokes. No, she immediately attacked the person's identity rather than the game. It isn't journalism. That is bitterness masquerading as analysis. And folks were able to see through it. Supporters brought receipts that showed Caitlin's statistics side by side with those of WNBA players. Caitlin's collegiate career alone, which Monica frequently defends, is longer than most resumes in the league. She has already shattered scoring, became the most marketable face in women's basketball history, and revolutionized range shooting, and she's only just getting started. Even other athletes added their voices. Some publicly defended Caitlin, lauding her leadership and poise throughout constant attacks. Others who would have remained mute until at last started to voice their disapproval of the resentment permeating WNBA discourse, because there are an increasing number of voices in the WNBA media sphere that seem more interested in discrediting Caitlin than in advancing the sport. This isn't just about one commentator.
Almost felt like marketers were trying to figure out, like, yeah, we have all of these amazing players and these amazing personalities, but can we push the demographic? And then when Caitlin Clark got to the league, the Angel Reeses got to the league, and they might have been fouled hard. The same thing I saw happen with Shamika Holsclaw, though.
You see my tooth knocked out?
Yeah,
Rookie season, Jewel Lloyd. My tooth knocked out. I still didn't get it.
So how do you?
It's cool.
T-Clark, how do you feel about the fact that all of a sudden it was, oh, it's too physical. Oh, they're going at them because they're stars. What was your reaction to some of the new viewers and fans to the game thinking that the WNBA was too rough?
It was a crazy season because we have never had so much momentum behind our league, so much support, demand, viewership, all that, accessibility. But the craziness that came with the new fandom was rooted in something other than fandom, right? And I think that's very evident to see across the board. In a lot of ways, it has not been about basketball. Like, we can talk about, you know, people getting fouled. I just showed you my tooth getting knocked out. Like, that's been a part of the game. The game has always been physical. I can tell you the amount of times I've left with bloody lips and eyes. I have bruises all over my body, even from the game last night. You can see bruises on my elbow from last night. Like, right. It's just a part of the game. So there was no targeting. There was no nothing. Right. That narrative that got spun into, oh, the vets hate the rookies hate the vets are going after certain players. It's all bullshit. Like, if I'm just gonna be frank, like, it's all bullshit. What it is racism, right? It gets blown up into, oh, they're going after Caitlin Clark, but no, we're just playing one of the best players that's in this league the way that any other best player, franchise player is gonna get played. Mm-hmm. Watch how Stewie gets played. Watch how Asia gets played. Watch how Enrique gets played. Watch how Khalid gets played. Go down the list of franchise players for every team. They be getting fucked up every game. It don't matter what position you are, what color you are, what school you came out of. This is how we feed our families. Our job is to go and win, and if we don't win, what happens? We get fired. We lose our jobs, so.
Facts. Caitlin Clark is getting mauled, no calls. Ryan Clark is a cloud chaser that stinks at sports commentary. His co-hosts aren't worth mentioning. Natasha Cloud, a.k.a. Natasha Clown, is running the race baiting media because she's average at best in the W, and now she's stuck in Connecticut because she stinks.
The irony is that Caitlin has always praised legends and never once shown disdain for the women who came before her. She has demonstrated humility. Even when she has said everything correctly, it is never enough. Why? Since Monica and those like her are aware of the unpleasant reality, Caitlin's success reveals their own shortcomings. They were in the spotlight for decades, and nobody seemed to care until Caitlin showed up and did what no one else could, at which point the rules changed, and there was an issue because the audience looked different, the crowd was bigger, and the ratings were higher than what the sponsors wanted.
Most influential female athletes right now: Coco Gauff, 10, Juju Watkins, number 9, Cameron Brent, 8, Paige Beckers. Number 7, Sabrina Ionescu. Number 6, Asia Wilson. So Asia's not going to be happy either. Jakari Richardson was number 4. Simone Biles, number 3, right here. I can't quite get past the fact that Simone Biles is behind Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark, she ran away with number 1. I don't think that should surprise us. She came away with number 1. Caitlin Clark is redefining the entire landscape of women's sports. Her dominance on the court has shattered outdated narratives about women's sports, proving that women's basketball can be just as marketable and widely watched as men's. But the Caitlin Clark effect goes far beyond her performance. It's reshaping the entire sports landscape. Her presence alone boosts the WNBA attendance by 105% compared to games without her, while road games featuring her Indiana Fever see an 87% increase in opponent home attendance. Her rookie debut sparked a staggering 200% jump in WNBA viewership, while Fever home games drew a league-high 186,000 fans last season, a 265% increase from 2023.
Monica views this development as a threat rather than a cause for celebration. However, this is what Monica overlooked. America is more in love with a fighter than it is with a comeback. Additionally, Caitlin Clark is battling every. Only one evening not only against the court's defenses, but also against media critics who are constantly shifting the goalpost. And she maintains her attention throughout it all. She keeps hooping and doesn't snap or complain, which is precisely why she's succeeding. Not only games, but millions of people's respect Monica, meantime, is seriously losing the room. Her credibility suffered, and today fewer people pay attention when she speaks. Her posts' comments are replete with receipts. No one wants to be associated with someone whose criticism is based on resentment rather than basketball, so fans are ignoring her and other commentators are discreetly pulling away.
So many players who cite you as an inspiration for their games, including Caitlin Clark, who's just absolutely a phenomenon in college. What's that next step like for her?
You know, next steps, gosh, in this generation, right? You have, I think, just so many more challenges of how to handle yourself as an adult, right? You go through that whirlwind of being a senior in college, transitioning into the W. And then the next step is how to become just an even better leader. And so much of leadership, I think, is listening and learning. And hopefully the more she can get connected to vets in the league and just different people and coaches and anyone that she can glean wisdom from of how to just continue to learn how to be as a connected and inspiring leader as she can be. And a lot of that is walking the walk and not just talking the talk. So she's already on her way, but, continuing to have fun, continuing to anticipate how people are going to try to stop her and being prepared as she can be for next season.
This wasn't only a poor decision. It marked a sea change. There came a time when everyone paused and declared, enough with the jealous shots, enough with the race baiting, enough with dragging down the one player actively saving the league. Because Caitlin Clark is here, whether you like it or not, and she's not merely playing the game, she's altering it. Thus, let's just refer to it as such.
Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark. They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. She has it. She's got the thing. I remember when the WNBA started. I was thrilled. I was a fan. I couldn't believe it was an opportunity for me, a 5'2", 97-pound girl, to go play professional basketball. That wasn't going to happen for me, but the idea that it existed was special to me. And now she's offering that to not just little girls, but little boys as well. She's spread the fan base.
When Monica McNutt attempted to discredit Caitlin Clark, it totally backfired. Rather of initiating a genuine discussion, she revealed the depth of animosity that arises when someone like Caitlin exerts dominance. She wasn't intended to be in that position, but the viewership, fans, and figures don't lie. Prior to Clark, the WNBA was invisible. Now that it's finally happening, no amount of resentment from Monica or anybody else can stop it because Caitlin continues to work, shine, and rewrite the future of women's basketball while they converse. She's not just a member of the league. She's the reason it might finally survive, which is precisely why she'll continue to win on and off the court. Caitlin Clark's story is just beginning, so stay tuned. Believe me, Monica McNutt has already lost this war.